Welcome to the Burnout to Lit Up podcast. I am your host, Erica Del Pozo, occupational therapist, certified health coach, CEO and founder of Joy Energy Time, Miami Girl, and Pineapple Lover. In this podcast, we provide the resources on how to deal with stress, burnout, and anxiety, how to get energized, find true satisfaction and alignment in your life, and more. You will learn how to slay your burnout beast and go from burnt out to a lit up life. Let's do this. Hello, and welcome to the Burnout to Lit Up podcast. I'm your host, Erica. If you are brand new to the show, then welcome. And if you are a returning listener, welcome back. I'm so happy you're here. We're going to hang out today and we're going to talk about failure. Yay! So much fun, but I promise you it will be. You're going to be like, wow, I never thought of it that way. So, it took me years to come to this conclusion and to shift my perspective on failure. So I'm hoping that you can take something from this and apply it to your own life and not be afraid to go for it. So I want to ask you a question. Have you ever failed? Whoa, wait a minute. You have? No. You have? You failed? Woo! Congrats! Congrats on your failure. That's awesome. I'm so happy for you. I'm so proud of your failures. That's incredible. Oh my God, I need one of those hand clappers, one of those noise makers. I need some pit bull, the artist, not the dogs. I need some pit bull in the background. Mr. 305. I need all the noise, all the excitement to congratulate you on your failure. Okay, so if you're if you're a new listener, I'm a little quirky, should have warned you, but that's just me. And I was being really dramatic there for a reason. But yeah, I am proud of you. I'm proud of your failures. So why do you think I was so over the top enthusiastic about it? Because typically when we view failures, we view it as defeat. We view it as something negative. We view it as a stoplight or a stop sign or red light. And we view it as, okay, time to hang up the towel, time to curl into a ball and cry and feel like the end of the world is here. That's typically how I viewed failure. So what if you took all that enthusiasm and looked at failure like how I said it, like, wow, congrats on your failure. What does that mean when you look at it from that way? It means that you should be proud of the fact that, wow, you actually went for it. You went for something and you failed, and that's awesome because you know what? Most people are afraid to go for it. I'm going to share with you a Will Smith quote. He says, "Every failure is a lesson." Oops, sorry, wrong quote. Okay, Will Smith says, "Being realistic is the most commonly traveled road to mediocrity." Being realistic is the most commonly traveled road to mediocrity. So people may be afraid to fail because of something in the past, this experience that they had, that they tied this emotion of shame or defeat or sadness around it. Therefore, going for something as big as their goals could be perceived as risky, and risk means failure, and people are afraid. So then they actually choose without knowing to play it safe, or maybe they know that they're playing it safe, but then with that comes being mediocre or settling for something that you know is mediocre for you when you could be going for so much more. So feel empowered by the fact that you have failed, and we're going to get into all the goods. I'm going to share with you my personal quote unquote failure, and I don't view it as a failure anymore, but I used to. So, okay, I'm going to go way back. This is not going to be drawn out. I'm going to go as quick as I can, but I got to share with you where I started. Okay, I started when I was 3 years old, this road and this journey to becoming a dancer. And I was a basic bitch. I was in ballet, tap, jazz, just like every other basic bitch was when when you were a kid and you were in dance class. You were a triple threat, ballet, tap, and jazz. And I was happy. I loved dancing. When I got a little older, I was around 9 or 10, and I joined my dance studio's company. My dance studio didn't have a competitive team, but they had a company. So we traveled around Miami and we performed at different venues and events, and it was really fun. I remember it just was a really great time in my life. I was always had a million dance pieces, a million costumes. Our recitals were like these crazy costume changes in the backstage. So it was just like really fun times. We performed in Vizcaya, which, if you're familiar with, it's a beautiful mansion in Miami. There's a lot of venues there, a lot of weddings. We performed all over the place. So I was really like just in love with dance. And when I was around 12, I overheard my parents talking. They were downstairs and I was upstairs, and it didn't sound good. And they were talking about money, and I don't remember what was said, but I remember the tone and I remember the feeling. And it was just, I felt like we were in trouble with money. And I confronted my mom and I told her, I overheard you talking about money. And I was old enough to realize that, okay, something had to go. We lived in this nice house, which we actually had to move out of due to our financial situation at the time. This was like around 2000. No, this was like 2001 or 2002. Yes, so we moved out of that house eventually, but at the time I realized, okay, we're in this big house and we go to a private school. I know my mom is not going to want to take us out of the private school. I mean, I had some neighbors that were in public school in Miami, and I mean, we were like 12, 13 years old, and I mean, they were like having sex in the bathrooms, and I'm like, what sex? Like, I was really sheltered, so I can understand why my mom was wanted to keep us in private school, because I think my neighbors like terrified my mom, and she we had been in the same private school from the time we were like 3 years old. Actually graduated from that school as a senior in high school. I went to the same school my whole life, so I knew my mom wasn't going to take us out of the school. So I knew, okay, I'm probably going to have to stop dancing. Dance, I didn't know how much it was, but I knew dance had to be really expensive. I was in all these shows and all these things. So I selflessly told my mom I'll stop dancing to help out. So I think they really appreciated that. They didn't ask me to do that, but I felt like it was the right thing to do. So I forgot about dance for a while. I went forward with middle school, high school, just normal. Didn't really, my only physical activity was in PE class. I just forgot about dance for a while there. And then when I was in 10th or 11th grade, I started dancing again. But I actually started with belly dance. Belly dance looked cool. I saw Shakira do it. I was a huge Shakira fan. I saw her in concert like 3 times. Yes, 3 times. I met her too. I know, okay, random fact, I can sing word for word a lot of her songs from the late 90s. And you're like, damn, Erica, like, where did that come from? Because my Spanish speaking wise is not the best, but I can sing to you word for word a lot of her old songs. Not that you want to hear it, because I'm not a good singer, but I can do it. Okay. So she inspired me to belly dance. I was really into that culture. I really loved the belly dance music. I got all into it. At that time, my mom would pay for a class for me. I was in high school, so I would take a class here and there, and then I started to do a little more and more. And then when I got to 12th grade, I started to go to a studio because my belly dance teacher, she was at the studio where there's other styles like ballet, tap, jazz, all the basic stuff. But then I realized, wow, like I really miss ballet. I really, really missed ballet. And something went, like the light bulb switched on inside of me that I need to start taking ballet again. And here I am, a senior in high school, haven't danced ballet since I was 12 years old. And I don't even remember what a plie was. I completely lost. everything. In ballet, you have to be flexible. I couldn't even point my toes anymore. I just like completely forgot how to do everything. So it was literally starting from square one, completely starting fresh with ballet. But I decided at some point towards the end of high school that I just want to start dancing again. I want to take this seriously again. So when I went to college, I was I don't even think I was, I wanted to be pre-med because I had always been interested in the human body. I was always into all those medical shows. Like I loved House. Oh my God, I loved House so much. I was into Mystery Diagnosis, all these shows, all these medical shows. Like I always had this medical side in me. But when I got to college, I think I wanted to be more of a physical therapist because I wanted to work with dancers, and that was my way of being medical, but working with dancers. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to be pre-physical therapy. And I started taking all the biology and the chemistry. And then just like halfway through my freshman year, or I don't even know, like just at some point in my freshman year, I realized, I really want to dance. Like I want to be a dance major and I want to be a professional dancer. And everyone around me is like, excuse me, you have not, like, to be a professional dancer, stopping at 12 is like the biggest mistake you could ever make, because that's when you start point. That's when you really like develop into a dancer. And I missed all those years of dance. Like when you start dancing at 18 and 19, that's too late. Even though I danced as a kid, it's like all those years in middle school and high school that were just like completely missing. It really cost me. It was the biggest challenge because I had no technique. So definitely starting from ground zero, I just decided, okay, I'm going to be a dancer. And I can't tell you why. I can't tell you what. Something took over me, and every cell in my body was determined to be a dancer. And if you've ever been passionate about something, you can relate to just every cell in your body. You feel this pull to be this pull to become what it is that you want to become. So I felt this pull to be a dancer. And oh my God, by the way, guys, I can't say Pull separately than Pool. I have this Miami accent. Pool. I'm pulling something. Like my husband makes fun of me for it all the time. So if you like literally thought I said swimming pool, no, I mean Pull. Pool. Okay. Moving forward. Like when you go for something big, even if it's this concept, this idea that is kind of outlandish, like mine was. I mean, I wasn't joking. I wasn't pussyfooting around. I was serious, okay? I was serious about becoming a dancer. I trained whenever I wasn't eating, sleeping, or in class. I was exercising or training. So this started in college. Side note, I developed an eating disorder, but I'm not going to talk about that because that's not what I'm going to talk about. And I have mentioned the eating disorder before. That could be a whole other episode. So just side note, that's kind of like the route. It was pretty serious, but just right now it's just a side note. But I got very obsessed with dance. Obsessed is an understatement of how my relationship was with dance. And I auditioned for Florida State, for UF, for there were 2 other schools. New World is a school down in Miami. It's a performing arts school. I auditioned for 4 big schools. I wanted to become a dance major, and where I was at Florida International University, they were going through budget cuts this was 2008, 2009 when shit hit the fan economically, and people were losing their homes and everything. So FIU also had some serious consequences or FIU and a lot of schools, I'm sure, had these serious budget cuts due to the economic crisis that was going on. So they cut a lot of majors, and dance was one of them. They cut the dance major. And I was going for it, and then I was told I can't go for it because they're cutting it. So that's why I auditioned for all these schools, so I could get into a program with a dance major. Yeah, that was my plan. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get into one of these schools. Audition after audition after audition. I did not get into any dance program in Florida. I would pray for hours. I was completely disheartened, like just torn on the inside. Torn on the inside because I was kicking myself for missing out on all those years of dance. So I definitely knew that I had to outwork everyone. And I'm pretty sure I can say with almost 100% confidence, not to brag, but I'm pretty sure no one worked as hard as me when I was going through these auditions, because a lot of these people were just talented. Not that they didn't work hard, but I am telling you, every moment of my waking hours when I wasn't eating or in class, I was training. I mean, like woke up at 6 a.m., did my 30 to 45 minute Pilates workout, showered, went to school. I danced in school. I took dance classes after school until like 10. And then I would go home and go to sleep and do it all over again. So I was always dancing in college and didn't have a life. Like only went to one party throughout my entire time in college. Can you believe that? Like I was all about dance. That's all I thought about. I was really determined. And therefore, because I didn't have a life, because I didn't party and do all these things, I was killing it in school with my grades. Like I was just, not that you can't party and still do well in school, but I was just on another level of like, I even missed a chemistry test, and we only had 3 chemistry tests and a final, and I missed a test and I still got like an A+ in the class because of how well I did with all the other tests. And I mean that road was just mixed. I was feeling like, okay, I'm doing well in school, but I'm not doing well in dance. I'm working, I'm killing myself, working my ass off to gain technique back and make it to be a professional dancer, but I wasn't making it into any dance program until I met one of my best friends to this day, Sabrina. We were at FIU together, about to leave because, they're closing the dance major, and I'm like, okay, I have to do something. I can't stay here. There's no dance major. And she's like, why don't you go to Nova? They just opened a dance major, and there are no auditions because the program is new. Nova is a school in Fort Lauderdale. So then I decided, yeah, okay. So, why not? I failed at literally all the auditions I went to. This is my last chance. And I got in. We were the first graduating dance major Nova Southeastern University had in 2011. We were a small group, just 5 of us. And that's how I met one of my best friends, because we were both in the same boat. We both wanted to major in dance. And she wanted to stay local, so this was perfect. And then we became best friends in that program. But okay, so yay, I made it to a dance program, right? Like, I didn't fail. I still felt like a failure because I didn't have to audition. I just got in, and I wanted to get into one of these top-notch dance programs. I still felt like a failure entering, but I was relieved. Like, ooh, I could still get a degree in dance. I could still go for what I want. And when I was in the dance program, I had my eating disorder, and my bones were really weak. I broke several bones in my feet. My metatarsals from stress fractures. And that put me out for 9 months. I remember just sitting there in my dance classes in school, and then I would go to a studio at night and just sitting there all throughout all the dance classes I had filled my day with, just watching with a boot on my foot, just completely saddened by the fact that I couldn't dance, and I was getting further and further away from my goal because I wasn't dancing. So I would train in the swimming pool, I would still work my core, and I would still try to keep active as much as I can to keep my strength and to train my non-broken legs. So it was just difficult, really low points in college because of the lack of social support, the lack of, I felt completely alone. And this obsession really turned my life into like tunnel vision. Like that's all I could think about. So, and my eating disorder too just made everything just so much heavier and so much worse. So towards the end, so I'm a senior in college, and I've broken my bones. I'm in this dance program that I'm so thankful to be in, and I have learned so much, but I don't think I'm going to make it in the real dance world. My body can barely put up with the training I'm doing now. How am I going to make it as a professional dancer? I had all these doubts. I had all these late nights just staying up in bed, looking at the ceiling, thinking about this. And I came to the conclusion that I just failed at being a dancer and that I'm going to have to go for something else. And I remember talking to a friend of a friend, and she told me about occupational therapy. And she said, you could implement your dance in your treatment. And I got immediately excited about this new profession. Even though I was going pre-physical therapy at first in the beginning of college, I had never heard of occupational therapy. So I pursued occupational therapy because of my past in college with all the prerequisites for PT. They were very similar for OT. And I actually graduated on time. Like there were some summers where I had a lot of classes and I had to kind of catch up on the science and all that. But I made it. I made it right on time. I still got my degree in dance. And then I applied for OT school while I was finishing my last year of college. And so after I graduated with dance, 2 weeks later, I started my master's program in occupational therapy. So I only had 2 weeks between undergrad and grad school. And when I started grad school, all of a sudden I felt like I made the right choice. I didn't fail in dance. Dance served as a lesson, but I did not fail in dance. I felt so right about my decision to be in occupational therapy because I knew that quote unquote failing in dance was a blessing in disguise because I wouldn't have found this amazing profession that I was called out by the gods and the heavens. I felt like, okay, I've definitely made the right choice with occupational therapy. So it's just for so long, I felt like a failure going through that whole dance process, being denied. And I auditioned for other things. It wasn't just getting to school. I auditioned for summer intensives. So when you're a dancer, you really want to get into a good summer intensive program because that's really important if you want to be a professional. That looks good on your resume. It means that you took your summer and you trained. And I auditioned for a lot of summer intensives, and I mean, I'm telling you, Sabrina, my dance friend, my best friend now, she said I was the bravest scaredy cat she had ever met. And I still laugh and I tell her about that quote, that name she called me, because it's so true. I think what led me to be the bravest scaredy cat was the fact that I was terrified of everything. And I knew that putting myself out there, going to these auditions with all these talented, spectacular dancers, and me just being like, hey, I started dancing again when I was 18. Like, that took a lot of balls. That took a lot of courage. And did I enjoy being that vulnerable? Did I enjoy looking like a fool sometimes and in these dance auditions? No, like I did not enjoy any of it, but I never turned down an opportunity. I kept putting myself out there over and over and over again in the dance world, just to sometimes be laughed at, to not be taken seriously. So when I was in grad school and after grad school, I auditioned for the Miami Dolphin cheerleaders a few times, because that's not like a full-time job. That's like a part-time job, and it's actually more seen as like a volunteer position because you don't get paid a lot. It's kind of like more for the, just to say like, oh yes, I'm an NFL cheerleader. So I did audition for that because that's like one of my favorite styles, that jazz cute style. And I did get so much validation. Like, I'm a great dancer. I got so many compliments after all the years of killing myself in college, of trying to be a professional. I got compliments or feedback, I should say, about like I have great technique and I have this and that. But I auditioned for the Miami Dolphins 3 times and I made it halfway through one of the auditions, but the other times I didn't. And I can like, the times I have failed in dance, like I can't even count them on my hands. There's too many times, right? But I view it now as this wonderful opportunity because it was something that I knew that if I didn't go for it, I would be sad and feel regret. And I didn't want that. And even though sometimes it was painful and not always enjoyable, I put on my brave face and I knew that deep in my heart that I have to do this. I have to try. And I did. And I failed. And I'm happy. I'm not a professional dancer now. Like, my life would be so different. And I love going to dance shows. I love the work dancers do. Like, it's so needed. I enjoy dance to this day so much. But I'm so happy that I didn't become a professional dancer, that I am where I am today. So I view those failures as lessons. I have another quote for you. I'm full of the Pinterest quotes. Let's see. Success is not built on success. It's built on failure. It's built on frustration. Sometimes it's built on catastrophe. Sumner Redstone said that. Sometimes success is built on catastrophe. Like, have you heard I'm sure you've heard the phrase, fall 7 times, get up 8. Like, it's really, I think what it comes down to is grit and drive and knowing that if you fail, it's okay, because most times it's not the end of the world. You're not going to die. Failure is really just an opportunity to revise your strategy. And whatever it is, think about, okay, I quote unquote failed. I didn't get into med school. I didn't get the job. No one bought my course. I didn't get into XYZ, whatever it is. Think about what it is you feel like, okay, this feels like a failure. Think about, okay, how can I revise my strategy? Do I need to, what can I do? Do I need to improve my skills? Do I need to improve my presentation? Think of it as, I am changing my game plan. Was it Thomas Edison? Yeah, I believe it was him. Yes, Thomas Edison invented the light bulb. And he said something about, I just learned how not to make a light bulb 10,000 ways. I'm not quite sure on the number, but I think it was around there. So he viewed his failure, it's like looking at a glass. Like, you choose to see it half empty, but he chose to see it half full. No, I just learned how not to make a light bulb 10,000 ways. So if you viewed failure with that lightness, with viewing it more as of an experiment versus like this heavy negative failure term, it gives you life, because you're not taking it so seriously. You're experimenting. Imagine if you view it as 10,000 ways to experiment with how to make a light bulb, versus like, I have to get it right this time or else I'm a failure. Like, we are so hard on ourselves, right? We are our worst critics. And we have to keep in mind that this is not the end of the world. It could feel that way. Like, for example, my husband applied to physical therapy school. And he applied to 18 schools and he only got into 3. And I think that was the second wave. The first wave of applications, like the year before that, I don't think he got into any. I'm not sure if that's correct, but I know for a fact he did apply for schools 1 year. I think it makes sense. Like, he did not get into any. So then he got a tech job in a hospital with like the rehab teams to gain experience around physical therapists. And then he applied again. I'm pretty sure that's the story. And then I know that he applied to 18 schools and only got into 3. 1 in New York, New Hampshire, and Florida. Being from Pennsylvania, he's like, yeah, I'm going to go to Florida, right? Because it's warm and sunny and there's Latinas. And so he met me here in Florida. And he didn't see that first round of applications as a failure. He saw it as an opportunity to, okay, I'm going to gain some experience with physical therapists and try again. So can you imagine if after every failure that you had, you were knocked down and you stayed down? If we all stayed down, can you imagine, like, those famous people that have been told no, like Oprah was fired, Walt Disney, oh God, I don't remember, but like, I think he was rejected. Can you imagine these people just were like, yep, I failed. Okay, I'm going to hang up my hat. I'm going to throw in the towel. I'm not going to try it again because it hurts too much. Yeah, can you imagine? We wouldn't have Disney World, guys, and we wouldn't have Oprah. So, and we wouldn't have you. We wouldn't have me. It's changing our perception. So that's really the biggest lesson is change your perception of failure. Every failure is a lesson. If you are not willing to fail, you are not ready to succeed. If you're not willing to fail, you are not ready to succeed. So, dream your life. Your life will change when you put more energy into your dreams than into your fears. Because when we have fear, we think of failure. And when we have dreams, we think of faith. You can flip the switch from fear, you can, oh my God, too many F's here. You can flip the switch from fear to faith, right? You can flip that switch. Oh my God, I can't talk. And allow yourself to be empowered by your path versus the negative little gremlin in your mind that's trying to hold you back and keep you mediocre. I mean, what do you have to lose when you are going for your dreams? Like I said, success is not built on success, it's built on failure. So if you're not willing to fail, you're not ready to succeed. And there has to be risk. There has to be, not that there has to be pain, but there has to be a price. There has to be some kind of cost, I believe. Do you have to kill yourself to succeed? No, but there has to be this risk of failure in order to succeed. And that's what makes you great. And we're not here to play small, my friend, because no one benefits when you play small. I'm doing something that I don't really know anyone in my immediate circle of people that I know doing. I'm an entrepreneur and I feel like I have this pirate ship and I'm setting off in the middle of the night into the unknown abyss of the ocean. And that's how being an entrepreneur feels like all the time, every day. And I'm not even like, I'm just getting started, right? I'm just getting started. And I want you to take a moment and think about what you're afraid of. Is it a good thing? Because we're afraid of, like, I feel I'm afraid of good things. They make me scared. Like, my dreams are big and they scare me. Okay? I feel like your dreams and your goals, there should be definitely a little fire under there. I'm terrified of my goals. They are scary. And actually, I haven't really shared my goals and my dreams too in depth with even my own friends, because I'm afraid of judgment, and I'm afraid of their perception I'm afraid of what they're gonna think, and I shouldn't be. I shouldn't hold back. But at the same time, I want to protect my goals and my dreams and only share them with the people that are really going to support me and understand and cheer for me. So I challenge you to flip that switch from fear to faith. When you're nervous or fearful of something, of failure, view it as excitement. Change that emotion into excitement. You're gonna spend your time on this earth anyway. Might as well spend this time going for it and embracing failure and changing this concept of failure to, I'm experimenting, I'm growing, I'm learning. There's no failure. There is no, what if you could not fail? What if you viewed everything as just a learning step in the game in achieving your goals? Wow. I'm taking a moment because this is revolutionary for me, because I always used to view things as, well, I failed. And it's really this defeating moment. Don't allow yourself to become defeated. Allow yourself to grow. Allow yourself to not be mediocre, and use your quote unquote failures as opportunities for learning, for growth. And think about it as if you can't fail. Everything is just an experience, right? That makes everything so much lighter. It makes you fearless. It makes you a badass. You're a badass. I'm so motivational today. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed that. Share this episode. If I've gotten so many messages on Instagram lately from people that love the podcast. So if you love the show, if you're digging it, if you've shared it with people, you're a listener, you're a part of our little community. All I ask of you is that you rate the show, you leave a review on iTunes. The more reviews the show gets, the more it's able to reach people, right? And it takes just a few seconds. I've written many reviews for my favorite podcasts, and it makes me feel good because I know I'm supporting the show. So if you want to support me, support the show, help other people, help the show reach other people, then just write a review, rate, and subscribe. It takes a few seconds. You can do it while you're in line in Starbucks or while you're at a red light. Yeah. Well, okay. So if you're at a red light, it's a long red light, you can do it. But I don't advise that you text and drive. Mike, just cut that out. I'm going to start that again. So you can write a review when you're in line at Starbucks, when you're in line at the grocery store, when you're watching TV. Just write a little review. I would really appreciate it. It's the little things in life, guys. A review, for me, it's not a little thing. It's a big thing, but for you, it's a little thing. But it means so much. It supports the show. So thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. Be awesome. Be you. Be the real deal you, and just go out there and kill it. Slay all day, babe, or dude, or bro. Love you guys. Bye. Thanks for listening. If you want more, be sure to subscribe to this podcast. Also, share this episode with your friends, and I would be so grateful. If you feel inspired, leave a review on iTunes with an honest comment and or what you'd like to hear more of, so you can help me out on my journey in delivering meaningful content. Thanks, mis amores.